right, so we're just about done with this thing, and as you know, there is tons more detail that we could go into if we wanted to in a real-world project, but here I think I've demonstrated some of the really basic ideas of working with a master model and complex surfacing to put together a mechanical assembly, and if you're really into that, then you could obviously go into a lot more detail. But all I want to do to finish this up today is just add that one last little bit of graphic detail to bring this to that final level of polish. So let's head here and actually turn off our lines in the viewport. So we're just left with a hidden line mode. And this guy is still purple, so I'm going to right-click that, go up to its appearances, and let's delete that purple from the body, and instead add it to the entire bracket part. And we're going to change it, instead of purple, let's make it a nice hot orange color, near red, something like that. That looks pretty good. And I'll use my Advanced tab, go to my Illumination Properties, and I'll actually set my specular color to orange as well, which should heat this up a little bit, and turn on Blurry Reflections just to make that a little bit easier to see there. Hit OK. That's looking pretty much the way that we intended. And then there's one last detail, and that is this there's an M8 graphic that needs to be kind of screened onto the side of this thing. And when I screen it on, it needs to be on this side, but not the other side. Or more correctly, we might want to put it on both sides, but it would be mirrored on both sides. Let's open up this part in its own window. And in order to make it so that it only appears on one side and not the other, we're going to need to split this face in two. So let's head up to our Curves drop-down in the Features tab, and we're going to add a split line. Now this is going to be an intersection split line. We'll choose basically the intersection tool. That'll be the right plane. And then we'll choose which faces we want to split. And that'll be this outer face here. Hit OK. And now we actually have two separate faces, one on each side. It makes no difference in our geometry whatsoever. It just gives us something to select on each side separately. So when we're applying our decal, it'll be separate on each side. Let's close that up, save it. And then back here, in our Render Tools tab, this is one that we've not used yet. If you right-click any tab, you can always show the Render Tools tab, and underneath it there is an Edit Decal button. And in that, the first thing I'll do is select an image. So let's hit Browse. And I've added a PNG file, an M8 PNG logo file. Let's open that up and then click the face we want to add it to. And by default, it's going to have a black background the same way that it did before. So let's turn this to Use Decal Image Alpha Mask. And under Mapping, let's make sure that it's not on that entire housing. Let's clear that selection. We're going to put this at the part level and then only put it on a single face. Let's choose this face, and that way it doesn't end up on the other face. We're not adding it at the assembly level, where it would have to go through everything. We're going to add it at the part level. Also, we can drag this around to move it by default, and that looks pretty good. But we obviously need to rotate this and scale it and stuff. So first of all, let's go over here to our projection type. It's currently set to current view. Let's set that to the YZ plane. As you can see in the bottom right of my viewport, Y and Z are what are currently visible. So let's use that, Y and Z, perfect. And then down below, we can rotate by dragging this around until we get it oriented the proper direction. We can also scale it, and by default it's going to constrain those proportions, so we don't have to worry about those getting off. You can drag either the horizontal or the vertical dimension. It'll do the same exact thing. Then we can just tweak this into place. Now you can do this with geometry to kind of lock things down a little bit more, but in our case that really isn't going to matter at all. Now we can click OK to exit that tool, and we're left with a finished product with a graphic on the side of it. Obviously, you could add that graphic to the other side. You can add other graphics, different things you might want to. But this is pretty much ready to render as it is. So I'm excited to be done with this project, but I'm also really hoping that it is helpful to you. If you have any questions, by all means, reach out, adam@cadjunkie.com. We'd love to hear your questions, feedback, anything like that. We'll talk to you soon. Keep in touch. See ya.